This room is full of people who have fought to increase diversity practices and social impact work in the corporate space, including this year's 2020 Visionary Award recipient, Dominic Barton. He's the global managing partner of consulting firm McKinsey & Company, where he empowers young, ambitious individuals to make a difference in business and society.
Now, we'd like to invite you to lean into the screen to hear a few words about Dominic from his friend and partner on the annual Women in the Workplace survey, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg.
It is my honor now to introduce my friend, Dominic Barton. Dominic is this year's recipient of the Trevor Project's 2020 Visionary Award. It's hard to imagine anyone more deserving. The 2020 award recognizes industry leaders who have been true allies to the LGBTQ community. As global managing partner of McKinsey & Company, Dominic has promoted the values of inclusivity, diversity, and equality, both internally and through the company's work around the world. Under Dominic, McKinsey provided significant pro bono work for the Trevor Project, supporting its mission to serve LGBTQ youth through their hardest times. McKinsey is also a founding sponsor for multiple business groups which advocate for this community. And GLAM, McKinsey's network, creates a space for its employees to support each other and make an impact. For over 30 years, Dominic has changed workplaces for the better through McKinsey. He is an incredible business and thought leader. His leadership and his commitment to the values reflected in the Trevor Project's powerful work have helped create a more powerful world. Dominic, thank you for your continued work in advocacy, and congratulations on this well-deserved award.
Please welcome to the stage this year's 2020 Visionary Award recipient, Dominic Barton. I don't know how I'm supposed to do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sheryl, through the ether, for your warm introduction. I might start by saying I think I'm the mozzarella cheese to the beginning of this session that we're going through. I'm a very boring, conservative McKinsey person in here, but I am absolutely passionate about the Trevor Project and what the Trevor Project stands for. And I think actually my only claim to being here is my somewhat vague linkage to Amit Paley, who has just done a phenomenal job of leader here. And I am so proud of Amit. I don't know where Amit is right now, but again, this is, we aspire to be a firm that creates leaders of billion-dollar-plus companies, of governments, and NGOs. And again, I'm extremely proud of what Amit has done, and actually many of my McKinsey colleagues. I'm here really on behalf of my McKinsey colleagues for their commitment and support to this. So thank you. I was thinking with Adam and Gus, who are up here, and I've asked them for their autographs after, being in Korea, and one of the many times where I've noticed prejudice in the system was actually when I moved to Korea in 1996, right before the financial crisis. And it was a pretty tough time in the world in that period. And there were really two offices that were very busy in McKinsey. We're in 65 different countries. It was actually the Korea office, and it was our German practice, especially as the internet bubble occurred. So we had many, many people from around the world that would come to Korea. And that's where I realized at the time, and Korea is changing, but it had a very narrow view of the world. And one of the things I noticed was that one of the project managers that we brought over from Chicago, who was helping me with a bank, was getting irritated because everyone at the client kept trying to introduce him to women. And he said, you know, Dom, I'm gay. I'm not really that interested, but I don't really know how to tell these people to back off. And I said, well, okay, well, let's talk to the CEO about that. And he said, I wouldn't do that, not here. And I said, I think we should. And I remember going to the CEO, who was a very traditional Korean leader, and I said, you know, we're here in McKinsey, and my friend, Scott, who is a terrific project leader, he's driving all of the corporate strategy. He's getting a bit irritated because people are trying to introduce him to women. He's not really that interested. And he said, okay, that's interesting. I said, he likes men. And at first the CEO had the translator repeat that a couple of times. And I said, you know, he's what we call gay, he likes men. He said, oh, okay, that's fine. So what do you propose we do? And I said, I don't know, but stop sending women toward him in this as we go through it. And what ended up happening as we talked about that, we found out that 15% of our staff in the Korean office were gay. And they felt completely repressed in terms of what they were doing, how they could feel in terms of where they wanted to move and how they wanted to move forward. The law, it was actually illegal to be gay in Korea. If you talk about you know, healthcare privileges and so forth, even though as a global firm we have one standard, it was seen you couldn't do that. So we changed that. And we said, I don't really care what your country rules are. We have a standard that we have to live up to because we want the best talent in the world, however diverse they are. And what that did was actually lead to more talent coming to our office and where we are. And I think every day we face this, and I think as business leaders in particular, it's up to us to do something about that and take a stand in where we are. Yeah. But really, I just had a couple of things I wanted to say tonight. The first, again, is really to celebrate the Trevor Project. I think, as has been alluded to, in these times, which are, I would argue, are quite dark times, where a lot of the social support that we have, the conservatism is on the rise, it's so important that we have organizations like the Trevor Project to help people. And I love the phrase that Amit used at the end. You know, you are beautiful just the way you are, and you are not alone. And it's really important at times like this that all of us, from whatever pulpit we have, yell that out loud to people to know that that's what's normal. What we're seeing today is abnormal, and it's important for us to stand up for that. Related to that, the second thing I wanted to say, and I don't want to have this to talk about McKinsey, just more as an example of a business organization that has to walk the talk. And this is because it's in our self-interest to do it. There is an incredibly important moral issue here to be inclusive, and I completely adhere and believe in that. But there is also an important economic issue. And those organizations that do not embrace diversity are going to suck. And it's a business phrase, if I might say, that I like to use. It's a corporate word we like to use. Your performance will be inadequate. Your shareholders will be upset. And it's extremely important we do this. And one of the things that I obsess about the most in McKinsey is talent. It's the recruiting of our talent, and it's what happens to people when they leave McKinsey. And we work very hard every day in our recruiting to try and be the very best place that people want to come to. And I'm so proud, I have to say this, that the leader of our global recruiting is Brian Rolfus, who leads our GLAM effort in McKinsey. And that's not done because he's the leader of GLAM, it's because of who he is. But I think it's wonderful that he leads all of our LGBTQ efforts in here. And I think that is a signal that we are extremely open and keen on diverse views and we look at it. So Brian, I want to have a special call out to you. Yes. Yeah. And the last comment I would like to say is back again to business. in these times, in these darker times, in these more conservative times. I think it's the responsibility of business who needs to have a license to operate that we speak up and we support, both with our people and our money, these efforts such as the Trevor Project, because this is what's keeping us normal in these periods. And as I think about this long-term plan of over 100 years, there'll be periods where we, as a society, will be able to move very quickly because we will have a more inclusive, open-minded leadership. And there'll be times when it will be darker. But in those periods, we have to accelerate and emphasize and intensify what it is that we do, so that when the bright times come back, which they will, we will just accelerate through and get to where we all need to be. So thank you so much for this amazing honor on behalf of McKinsey. Appreciate it.